Uniform Show, episode 24. A belated episode, but it's good to get back and look at the NFL and the World Series. It was one of the big uniform seasons in the NFL where we left off covering the first 4 weeks, and there's some high highs and there's some low lows with uniforms. Let's look at a week 5 game between the Buccaneers and the Falcons.
And again, the Falcons wear these 3 times, so it really says a lot. No other team wears their throwbacks that many times. So they should go back to these primarily, if not the black helmet version or the red helmet, red jersey version, but a huge improvement over what they normally have.
This is just a really good game. The Buccaneers and the Falcons, while this is not my favorite Buccaneers uniform set, it is always one we respect and like when it's done right with the pewter white pewter. And Falcons, if you're going to tease us this often with these year after year, and as you said, 3 times a year, doesn't that say that it's time to return to these full time? And you keep holding on to such a weak uniform. It's one of the worst in the NFL. And then you bring it out this early in the season. Give us this uniform, or just give us any from, let's just say, 90s to the very beginning, going back to the very beginning of the team's history.
Right.
Then we have the Falcons cheerleaders, the throwback cheerleaders, which I never really noticed them, the regular ones, but I came across this, that here you have a collection of the classic logo, but then they brought in all these different versions with the red or the black, even white. I like them all.
Yeah, I hadn't realized these in the past games either, and definitely didn't realize that there were so many different combinations. It seems like they kind of have retro hairstyles to go with it too, so it makes it even more turn back.
And the white boots are a very welcome look compared to what we have today. So Falcons all the way around, very good job. And we had the return of the Jaguars uniforms. Not quite the very first, right? It was the second version with the numbers being a little different, being this style versus the block. This is one we looked forward to for quite a few years, and they finally brought it back for this game against the Colts this season.
And it's amazing they did, because it just seems like a lot of these teams won't go back if it's too similar to what they currently have, and you could argue that this is too similar from a distance than what they currently have, but it's a huge improvement if you look at the details, and having a stripe on the pants that's solid and having numbers that are more substantial and just better borders, piping, the socks, of course, being black. Go back to this full time.
Yeah, there's so many things I like about this uniform. It's not one of the very best, but it's one of those ones that I've wanted to see, and I'd consider an above average uniform. It's a unique color to the Jaguars. It's their own look. It's a the helmet's never really been the issue. The helmet, I should say, or specifically the logo, has never been the issue for the Jaguars. The striping on the pants, big fan of it. And although it's not the block numbers on the jersey, I like these.
Yeah.
And the fact that they actually wore black socks.
Yeah.
When they showed the pictures of the players showing them off in the off season, I'm like, well, they're going to really are they going to wear the black socks?
Probably not.
And they really did. So I have to really applaud them for wearing these right. And then on top of that in this game, the Colts wearing the blue socks.
Yeah, and should we even have to say that? But
Right.
we do. But the Colts actually wearing blue socks instead of white stockings. Great game overall.
So this was really, because of that, both teams wearing the uniforms right, it's as if this could have been played in the 90s, with the exception of the helmets.
Yeah.
But everything else, the face masks and the helmets being modern.
Right.
But everything else this really could have been a 90s game. Took too long. And yet another, could we have these return? Because they're far superior to the weak Jaguars look that we have now.
Yeah, they scheduled it once and they ended up wearing it twice.
And then we have Jaguars cheerleaders as well. They have a very similar uniform to the players, and they have the 95 on there for the year the Jaguars entered the NFL. And I like this on the shorts, skirt shorts, I guess they're shorts. I like the striping that matches the team pants.
Yeah.
The striping that matches the team pants. And I think overall, a good look, and right in front of the logo of the Jaguar.
The stadium was well done as well.
That brings us to the Texans, the alternate Texans.
Yeah, it's from a distance very similar to the regular uniforms, just with the poor contrast in the numbers, with them being red. And they've done blue on blue in the past with their regular uniforms, so it's just not different enough.
Let me say, my biggest problem is the numbers on here. We can get to the helmet on the moment, but that's what jumps out to me is you don't put, I mean, this goes for any jersey in sports. You do not put red numbers on a dark blue jersey like that. It doesn't work. Whether it be basketball, in this case football, just don't do it. And on top of it, the style, the design of the numbers are terrible.
Yeah, if you were going to have these red numbers, and you need a thicker outline for them, and preferably white.
The helmets.
Yeah, just super plain. From a distance, just not different enough from their regular helmet.
The H-Town helmet, which I don't like any helmet the Texans have ever had. The helmet has never been a strength. We're talking about the Jaguars helmet. Generally, when it's black, has been a strength. The Texans have always had a fairly weak helmet, in my opinion. I just don't even like their logo. I don't like the team name. I really don't like anything about the Texans, really. But these are worse. They're not better. They are worse than your regular Texans helmet. And you had all the fans getting all excited about these alternate Texans uniforms. And I fail to see what you're getting excited about, especially with this alternate helmet. To go along with it, I mean, there's almost no white in the uniform. And you have the blue stockings, not socks. So you have the all-color look from top to bottom. There is a stripe on the pants, but once again, white would be better than red.
Yeah, amazingly, there is a stripe on the pants. And amazingly, the helmet is not matte.
That is one positive for the helmet. It is not a matte helmet. But very, very weak uniform. But at this point, what else would you expect from a franchise like the Texans? Just be prepared to be disappointed. The Bengals brought out orange pants for a game against the Ravens. What do you think?
I loved these when I saw them. I thought about the possibility of them having orange pants in the past, and it's a great upgrade. It matches the helmet very well, and even though we grew up with the white pants, would actually prefer them just to use these all the time now.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I never gave the orange pants much thought for the Bengals. I just always said, well, they've got white pants, and I think the white pants works and it looks good. Every time I've seen these, I seem to like them more and more, and I've said to myself, well, why haven't they had orange pants all these years?
Right.
Because it goes along and it matches and alternates with the helmet.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that? And I would consider this now their strongest look.
Yeah.
A real positive for the Bengals.
Yeah, especially with the black socks. They did not go with orange all the way down or white stockings. They really get it right with this.
Bengals do it pretty well with alternate uniforms. We're not going to look at the white all the way down, the white helmet, the white jersey, the white pants, that alternate uniform, which is a solid road uniform. But this was one I would vote, and you would vote too, for just let's make this your standard home uniform going forward.
Yeah.
Have to criticize, though, the Ravens on the other side of the ball with, I do not like the purple pants.
No.
And it looks like most of their players, probably just about everybody in this one, wore the white stocking look.
Right.
Of some sort. But purple pants,
3 different colors, not good.
yeah, I can do without the purple pants for the Vikings and the Ravens. So well done, Bengals. At last, the Broncos. This is one that we've waited for over 20 years.
Yeah. And they get it right all the way down from the top to bottom. Helmet, jersey, pants, socks. And no, Bo Nix did not wear the socks all the way correct, but most players did. And they just need to bring these back full time, just like we've been saying with the Falcons and others. It's a huge upgrade.
This is their alternate, right?
Yeah.
This is the alternate for the Broncos, and it's the best uniform set they ever had. These were retired at the end of the 1996 season. That's when the Broncos had their new uniforms, which they have had for far too long. And we got the new uniform set this year. So it was over 25 years of those other uniforms, the inferior uniforms. They wore these uniforms once in 2001, Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys. And it was a color-on-color game in Dallas in the year 2001. I mean, that's unbelievable. Now, you're not surprised. I won't say you expect it, but you're not surprised or quite shocked by, the uniform, let's just say the uniform crimes in the NFL.
Right.
You get a color-on-color, but the last time they wore these was 2001. So we had to wait almost 25 seasons to see these again on the field. And what I'm most thankful for is they did it right, and they got the perfect weather game. With
Sunlight.
All sun, light game for the Broncos, and that orange, that blue. Why did you leave it? The only part I ever liked about the Broncos' new uniforms going back to 97 onward until continued on the present is the logo of the helmet. The Bronco is good. That's the only part that I liked. Otherwise, every part of the uniform was weaker.
Yeah.
You have a great helmet, you have a strong jersey, you have the striping, even though on the pants, I'm not a big fan of the stripes on the socks. That's about the only part I don't like about this uniform. Otherwise, it is a great uniform. And what I especially appreciate about this that so many teams get wrong is they decide to have this game against the Raiders.
Yeah.
So you have it against your old divisional, your divisional opponent that you wore these against for decades.
Right.
And one of the best uniforms in football. So
Right.
this is one of the best uniform games of the entire season.
Right.
Raiders at Broncos.
A true throwback.
And then also, I don't think there was much of a change for the cheerleader uniforms. I also have to love seeing that logo on the back for them. Yeah, they have it on the front of their uniforms as well. I mean, this is just one of those things you can't go back fast enough, and unfortunately they made the wrong choice this season with their uniforms, which are now among the worst in the NFL. They would be in the top half for sure if they went back to the throwback uniforms. But now they're among the worst.
Yeah.
And they're even worse than they were. They managed to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, as a 49ers fan, this was one of the worst home games I can ever remember for the 49ers. It was a game, week 5, early in the season. It was over 90 degrees, not San Francisco, Santa Clara. Over 90 degrees. And the 49ers made the decision to wear not only white pants, but white socks. Team-wide, the entire team decided to do this.
Yeah, this was supposed to be used for a different game, the Lions game, and then they decided to switch it for this game because of the heat, and the socks should be red as they were originally.
I mean, this was a game that really angered us. You're not talking about wearing dark pants in the sunlight. All we're talking about is the socks. That's all. They're not a thick material, and you had to wear white. It was that bad. And was this ever a problem in the past? But it's a problem for players now. And the 49ers blew this game. They lost the game too, and it served them right for doing this during a home game. I mean, it's one thing to do it on, the road when you're wearing the all whites, but to wear the white socks like this, it was the first time they ever did something like this with the home uniform, where every player wore this for the throwback uniform.
Yeah, you could rely on Fred Warner and
Jawan Jennings. There are a couple players you could still count on to wear the uniform, but it was everyone. Every single player on the roster wore these white socks or stockings. And it was the low point of the season for the 49ers, and one of the low points ever for uniforms, seeing this. On a better note, there was the Cowboys-Steelers Sunday Night Football game. Here we had, arguably, it's in the running for the best uniform game of the entire season.
Oh, yeah.
We just mentioned the Broncos and Raiders. That'd be up there.
Yeah.
This is even better.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be the best game. I would have to go through the entire season to look back. As a traditionalist, this is about as good as it gets.
Yeah. Super Bowl rematch. Great complementary colors, yellow and blue. So much history with these two uniforms matched up against each other.
And even Dak Prescott wore the blue socks.
Yeah.
At least some blue on there. He did it. Ezekiel Elliott did it there. I mean, the Steelers are going to get it right, but the Cowboys, they wore about as good as they could with so many players. I mean, there are some, as you could see in the picture on the left, there are some players that still chose to wear the all whites, but the majority of the players, even Dak Prescott, who we love to rip, wore the blue socks. It was a great, great Sunday night game. The Monday night game, Saints at Chiefs.
As usual, the Saints get it wrong. Have one of the better uniforms there are. When they get it right, top 10, not top 5, but so much better than what they usually
top 5, yeah.
So much better than what they usually roll out. And again, you only play the Chiefs every 4 years. Usually could have had gold helmet with a white jersey and gold pants, but no. The stupid black alternate helmet paired up with the turn back white on white. Even if they had the gold helmet with this set, it would have been much better.
Well, if you're not going to wear black socks, which just about nobody does, I mean, I'd have to look back at the game also, but I'm just going off what we see here in some of the other pictures. You know, the majority, if not everybody, is wearing the white socks, white stockings, pretty much all the way. The black helmet goes with nothing. It matches nothing because you don't have the black socks, and you have the gold numbers, and you have the gold stripe on the pants. As much as I don't like a color on color, what goes with this, I should say, as much as I don't like the white on white look for the Saints, if you're going to wear this, the right choice would be to wear the gold helmet. Not the black helmet. It clashes with the uniform.
Right, you wear the black helmet with the black on black, though we don't want to see that either.
I mean, the Saints have been one of the teams that have angered us and frustrated us, I think, as much as anybody. They may be number one on our list over the years because, as you said, when they used to wear the uniforms correctly, which we have to restate because it's been so long now, the gold at home, the gold helmet, the black jersey, the gold pants, the black socks. Or on the road, it was the gold helmet, the white jersey, the gold pants, and the black socks. That was certainly a top 10 uniform in the league. And then they started wearing the black pants, and then they start doing all these color on colors, the black on black, which is their go-to home uniform, and the one that we know now is their standard home uniform all the time. And now that they've messed with the helmet, why? And they've had no success doing any of this.
Right. Yeah, we think that they have ruined the opportunity to wear great uniforms so many times and been an inspiration for many, many other teams in the league to go color on color, especially looking at the Lions being the greatest copycat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. You hit it on the head. They have had a terrible influence on the rest of the league with their color on color uniforms. I root against the Saints now. I do, just because of what they do with their uniforms. It's so frustrating. And then you look on the other side of the field, of course, the Chiefs just about always get it right.
Right.
And as much as people dislike the Chiefs and their success, and we lost the Chiefs twice in the Super Bowl as 49er fans. One thing I don't have a problem with the Chiefs is, with the uniforms, they're going to get it right.
Yep.
They look consistently good, and how many teams can you say that about?
Few.
Very, very few. Okay, a Thursday night game. Week 6, 49ers and Seahawks, and this is what I'd hoped for. You know what the 49ers are going to wear every year in Seattle now. It has been going on for how many years? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It's been 6 straight seasons the 49ers have worn white on white in Seattle, and it's almost always a night game, and our hope would be, well, we know what the 49ers are going to wear. The hope is the Seahawks are going to bring out the turnbacks. And they did.
Not the neons. You especially have been hoping for the turnbacks, and it finally happened, and it was a great change. Now if only the 49ers could join in and go back to their regular road uniform.
Yeah, or just give me red socks, please.
Yeah.
If you're going to wear this. But this was one of the better coordinated throwback games I can think of.
Yeah.
Where both teams wore, we don't like the fact that 49ers aren't wearing the red socks, but you have solid road uniforms by the 49ers and the Seahawks. And this is now one of my favorite throwback uniforms that needs to come back as a permanent one because, I mean, it's like the Broncos, but the Broncos are even worse because of how long it's lasted.
Yeah.
You need to bring these back full time. When you have an all blue look all the way down, and the Seahawks made some terrible choices with uniforms this year. We'll get to that in a future episode, which we hoped were permanently retired. They weren't. But they start the season off with these, which we talked about the Falcons. Well, it tells you something when we start this episode. You're wearing a turnback in week 5, and you're wearing it 3 times a year. That tells you that that's a great uniform.
Yeah.
They wore these in week 1 to kick off the season, and then they wore these in the primetime game as well. I mean, these pop. That's what I'm always saying. Uniforms that pop. Silver helmets. Very silver helmets.
Right.
Blue. I'd love to see some shine in those pants, but silver blue, gray, blue. It's just taken too long for these to come back, and I would like to just see more and more of them. They wore them twice. What's taken so long? What's taken so long bringing these back?
Especially that the regimes and players of the past successes are all far removed now.
Right. Everybody's gone from those teams. I mean, now that Pete Carroll's gone, it's time to make these the regular uniform again. Tyler Lockett, he wears the uniform better than anybody that's left. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, let's put the helmet aside again, but the socks.
Yeah.
The blue socks, half and half, blue and white, and then the all-white shoes.
Yep.
Yeah, dig the all-white shoes. This was really neat seeing it at night because we hadn't seen it at night. I was disappointed actually by the lack of quality pictures we had for the nighttime game, but they did everything the same they did last year. And look at the walls. They got the colors right. The cheerleaders, one of the best throwback cheerleader looks. The flags, the end zones, give them an A.
And they're outside instead of inside now.
Right. That is one thing we have to celebrate about Seattle. Of course, we don't like the team. They're rivals. But having outdoor football in Seattle was a great victory for people who want outdoor football. You know, football where it's supposed to be played is outside, unless it's impossible. But it's really a frustrating trend now, seeing more and more teams moving inside who have no business being inside. Rams, Raiders, Chargers, California teams. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well done, Seahawks. Then another great throwback uniform, the New England Patriots.
Yeah, great striping, piping, outlines, color contrast, and the white socks are probably the only thing that are not so great about it, but not too noticeable. Overall, a great set.
I'm not a big fan of white helmets, but it really works. This is one of the better white helmets from the past, and I'd even say NFL history. And the striping on the helmet works really well to go along with the jersey striping and then the pants.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say is, could you add a solid color for the socks.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest improvement. The Belichick-Brady era was very good as well, but the red jersey, white helmet, the Pat Patriot, was the strongest Patriots uniform in the team's history.
Yep.
And then we also have the cheerleaders. A big fan of the sweater, a skirt, boot combination. The red sweater, the white skirt, the white boot, and the white pom-poms combination.
Yeah, it's a good retro look.
Falcons and Panthers.
Yeah, this was the UFL or XFL or college football coming to the NFL type of matchup of uniforms in this game. I guess the only thing that could have been worse is if the Falcons had the all-white tights going all the way down, but pretty awful all the way.
Yeah, the Falcons haven't been able to get away from these helmets. We were starting the episode off complimenting the Falcons throwbacks, and they have held on to this type of helmet, this logo, and they're just bad uniforms. Home, road, and then to go along with it, on the other side of the field, you have the matte. Well, you have a double matte.
Double matte.
With both teams, matte helmets. You have the matte helmet for the Panthers, and then the blue. You just no to the blue jersey on the Panthers. But then they go even further with, it's one thing to pair it up with, say, silver pants, but to do blue on blue, black socks, I suppose the only thing we should be thankful for is not blue all the way, right?
Right. The Panthers have really lost their identity over the last so many years, last couple years, and just continued last year. A new combination that they had not used before.
The NFC South is one of the worst divisions.
Yeah.
Just be thankful for the Buccaneers, because, well, we've already said what we did about the Saints, and then you have these two teams, the Falcons and the Panthers.
Yeah.
And this was another game that was in the running for best of the year. We mentioned Cowboys and Steelers, but then you had Steelers and Raiders. I mean, this may be number one for the entire season.
Again, so historical, all the significant playoff games they had against each other, and just great contrast and complementary colors as well.
Yeah, the tradition, the history of these teams, the success, the winning the Raiders more had in the past. Two great teams with history and uniforms. I've always liked the Steelers road the best, and I've actually always liked the Raiders road the best. I think of the two, the Raiders home, it's just a shame. I have to say it every time. The Raiders not playing outside and not seeing these in the sunlight anymore. It's always inside. That is my only disappointment here. It's not the uniforms themselves, it's just that they should be in the full sunlight.
Yeah.
But it was a treat to see some of this game and to enjoy these uniforms.
Only thing that can make it better is to bring back the block numbers for the Steelers, but that's...
We did get to see that a season or two ago in Pittsburgh, and we will see that soon in this episode. Now, we had the white game in Dallas between the Lions and the Cowboys.
Yeah, again, the Lions wearing white tights, and the Cowboys choosing to wear blue at home, which we're in favor of, but with the white pants.
I'm not surprised by the Lions at this point. You know, as the season quickly progressed and as we continue through the season, the Lions only got their uniforms right at home once. And they continued to wear their color on colors really all season. And it was very disappointing by the Lions. On the road, it doesn't surprise me as much. At home, that's what was the major disappointment. So I, like you, expected them to continue to wear these most of the time. But for the Cowboys to go with white pants like this at home, I mean, the fact that they chose to wear the blue at home, the blue jerseys, was surprising.
Yeah.
But what's with the white pants? I mean, great for the players who wore the blue socks, but this is totally untraditional. It's lazy, and the fact that it not in any level does it match the helmet.
Right.
I mean, you're the Cowboys. Why are you cutting corners? The Cowboys do a lot of things wrong, but usually when it comes to uniforms, they get it right. But now we've seen recently with the blue jersey, paired up with the blue jersey, we've seen everything from the best of silver pants to gray pants to white pants.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the deal with this? So you get white pants out of both of these teams, and traditionally, historically, what would you expect from these two teams?
Cowboys to wear away at home, white on silver, and the Lions to be wearing their home blue on silver.
Right. I mean, if this was the same jerseys, you would expect silver pants on both.
Right.
But instead, we get white on both. The Jets. Now, this is one we were waiting for a long time. Not as long as some, but I was upset and frustrated and even angry, uniform-wise, when the Jets decided to go in a new direction and move away from these uniforms. After they moved away from them years ago, they did it again.
Yeah.
And a second time, it was a awful decision to do this, and it was a mistake to do this. And it's a shame they're not brought back on a permanent basis, but at least we got to see these again.
Yeah. And this was a big surprise, as it was not previously announced before the season started. Very late announcement about these, and they wore them at home, white on white. That was a little different, but other than that, it was great to see them back, and they should be a regular part of their uniform set permanently.
Yeah, the strongest of all the Jets looks. I mean, the new uniforms are very good, bringing back almost nearly identical uniforms to the Sack Exchange Jets uniforms. But I like to see them go all the way back with these. It felt like they went with the second best set, which is a major improvement. But these are the best, and they've had all their success historically in these, where it was Joe Namath, or you can laugh about a little Rex Ryan era, the Mark Sanchez Rex Ryan era, but they went far in the playoffs in those. So I do think, at least with the Jets, of success when I see these.
Yeah.
And winning. And again, Rodgers, it was a very disappointing year, but you're going to have a difficult time finding anyone wearing a uniform better than him.
Yep.
My only change I'd make this uniform, which is common, I keep saying it, is I'd like to see the solid socks versus the stripe, but at least you have striping on it.
Yep.
And they wore this against the Bills. And you can see not everyone wore it correctly. The Jets look great for a white on white. It's a terrific white on white look. But the Bills decided to wear the all blue.
Yeah. Very disappointing. Blue pajama look. Glad to say the Bills stopped wearing this as much. Very rare, actually, this year, but this wasn't the time to do it.
Yeah, and one white helmet on the field is enough, to be honest. Two is too much. So prefer the red helmet for the Bills. Now we come to the worst decision any team made for uniforms. The worst decision any single team made for uniforms the entire season. This is one I never thought we would see. I never thought we'd see a day where the Packers would do something like this.
Yeah, the Packers cave into a trend of the white helmets and the white tights, and they waste a home game. Right, in their regular home uniforms. Amazing. And disgusting. And again, we rank the Packers as the number one uniform in the NFL, as well as one of the greatest in sports of all time. And we're losing a home game to this garbage.
Yeah, I could use certain words when I see these, and I will control myself and not say those words when seeing this uniform set. But starting with the helmet, how do you not have the yellow Packers helmet?
Yeah.
How could you ever have a game without that unless you were doing something historical? But to choose for an alternate, again, you weren't. My biggest complaint here is they were not forced to do this by the league.
Like the color rush.
The color rush. Even when they had the color rush, they maintained the yellow helmet. I don't like seeing the plain yellow helmet. I don't like seeing the Acme Packers. I don't want to see Acme Packers. I don't want to see any game where they don't have their regular uniforms. But to choose to do this, not being forced to do it by the league, you go along with this, and you have a white helmet. And the worst part about the white helmet is the fact that there's no yellow on it at all. You could have added yellow in the middle stripe of the helmet. That's one thing that would make it better right away, because that would match both the jersey and the pants.
Right.
Why it's missing from that, I can't tell you. I mean, the jersey's okay. That's fine. I mean, it's just about, it's the same as their regular road jersey.
Yeah.
But it's the pants. I mean, the white pants and the white stocking look. It's going from being the class of the NFL in all sports and standing out as being the very best to saying, and then you just decide, we want to be just like everybody else. We want to be ordinary, not just ordinary. We want to be bad.
Yeah.
We want to be common. That's that's the thing of all of it. We were elite. We are regularly elite. We are the best. And we just want to be common like everyone else and blend in.
Yeah, let the Vikings do this, but not the Packers.
Because it's the Packers, this is my least favorite uniform in the NFL. I'm saying design-wise, there's nothing particularly bad about it. But the fact that this is the Packers, this is, to me, the worst uniform to warp the Packers into this.
Yeah.
In the league. And to make it yet even worse was, this was a color rush game in Green Bay. Again, a voluntary color rush game. They were not forced by the league to do this. These two teams agreed to do this. The Texans, with their blue on blues, the only thing I can say about it is at least it's not the H-Town alternate uniforms with the red numbers. That's about the only nice thing I'll say about it. But they have their blue on blues and the Packers with their white on whites at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, for a morning game in the sunlight, which is so rare to get, wasted on this uniform combination.
This is one of the things I would love to hear from Packers fans, how they honestly feel about this. Do they really like these? Are they really for these? This was up there as one of the worst of the entire season, and it would only be eclipsed by one that we'll see later on in the season. But I have to also criticize the Packers fans. Historic Lambeau Field. Arguably, see, the great thing about the Packers, and the Packers are our rivals, but I have so much respect for the Packers' history. I have so much respect for the success and the uniforms and the stadium. Lambeau Field is probably the greatest football field in the league. I kind of go back and forth between Lambeau and Arrowhead. And I'll add this in, but what the Packers fans did was they all dressed up in white. It was a whiteout at Lambeau Field. I mean, you start seeing this in the NBA, like the Heat would do these whiteouts. It happened at Lambeau.
Yeah. And that's why you call it the worst uniform game in Lambeau Field history.
Yes. Yes. I did say that at the time, and thank you for reminding me. The worst. We need to move on. But that to me does tell the story. That is the Packers hitting the bottom, rock bottom. It's one thing to do this on the road.
Yeah.
But to do this at home and just sinking to the bottom of the league, and again being at the very heights and being at the top of the league, and then sinking all the way to the bottom with these uniforms. It's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. A Sunday night game, Jets and Steelers.
And the Jets, and the Steelers wore the block numbers, which is great. And the Jets are looking sharp overall, except for the Sox.
Right. This could have been, in ways, it's still a good game. The Steelers are looking at their absolute best. The Steelers. But I want to highlight, since we focused more on that in the past, I want to concentrate more on the Jets. That the Jets blew it without green socks, or at least some kind of some kind of green striping, or what you'd expect, which they showed us in the off season. They would have green socks, and they decide, we're just going to go all white in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So thank you, Steelers. Can you bring the block? You're so close. Can you bring the block numbers back?
Yeah.
And Jets, why? Why'd you do this? I don't know. Another great throwback. And that's what saves us this season from going insane and losing our minds is, you have all these bad alternate uniforms, and we had a steady diet of classic throwback uniforms. The Buccaneers. The Falcons look like garbage as usual, but the Buccaneers, another white helmet that's great. And when you see this orange, you say, well, it's not the Bengals, it's not the Browns, it's not the Broncos, it's the Buccaneers.
It's unique. And this year they actually had some better pictures.
Yes.
And they had a little sunlight.
Yeah, still not the ideal conditions that we wanted. I don't know why they waited so late in the season to wear these. They should have worn this in week 1, week 2, one of their first home games, where they probably would have had their best weather and just the ideal lighting. The Buccaneers haven't made the best choices. But the uniforms, they don't wear them enough. Once is not enough with these. You need to wear these at least twice, or give it the Falcons treatment 3 times.
Right. And get a road version of it too, and alternate that as well, like the Dolphins do.
Yes. That would be a treat to see for the Buccaneers, that they would add the roads, either the white on whites or the orange pants.
Right.
So thank you for wearing these, but I wish, because it's been difficult for them to get the lining right, there were options on the schedule for them to wear these in a primetime game at home, and they didn't. I recall later in the season, I believe it was a game against the Ravens, that was the one I was hoping they would wear these in, so you'd see them under the lights at night, but they didn't. Anyway, it's good to see. And also one of the best cheerleader outfits as well. One of the most unique, but one of the most interesting ones. You got the big logo, you got the orange skirt, and then you've got the boots with the logo on them, which is also a neat touch.
Right.
And also I saw this, they had alumni come back, and the alumni cheerleaders wore these jackets, which I thought were very cool.
Nice.
Also, I'd love to wear one of those jackets. Where could I get one of those jackets? And here's a good shot too of the midfield logo. Really good. Oh, and I have to point out the white and orange pom-poms.
Yeah.
Really look great as well. So they did a great job with the stadium. You can also see, of course, the walls done very well. It's just, I keep saying, why only once? I don't know. Cowboys and 49ers. A Sunday night game, week 8. Thought we would have seen this combination in the last season or two. It didn't take place until this year, being the 49ers using the 94 uniforms.
Yeah. It finally happened, and again, falls short because they have the white sock stockings, not the red socks. But overall, it's pretty good.
It is good, but again, so close to getting it right and just not quite there. And as a 49er fan, I've had my fill of the 94s.
Yeah.
And they wear them too much. We talk about teams like the Buccaneers not wearing them enough, the Seahawks not wearing enough, the Oilers, all these great turnbacks that we don't get as much as we like to. As a 49ers fan, I have seen too much of these, whether it's the home or the road. They need to give it a break. And you think of 94 being a Super Bowl year, and unless you have that kind of team, it looks bad when you're wearing these when you ended up winning 6 games.
Yeah.
I'll say that. And it was a heck of a disappointing year for both the Cowboys and the 49ers. And if you're going to bring it back again, wear it right. Now to the World Series. It's been a long time. I thought we'd get back to the World Series and do a quick World Series review. Dodgers and Yankees, 2 of the best uniforms in baseball.
Right.
And let's start off with some pitchers here. You had Flaherty being the number 1 starter for the Dodgers. Your thoughts?
Wearing number 0. Don't want to see it ever. And then the socks with the palm trees and stripes. Don't want to see that either. And then the white cleats.
Those are the 3 things.
Yep.
0 as a starting pitcher, and the number 1 pitcher starting the series off. He wears 0 for the Dodgers. The socks, I will always think they're goofy. I don't think our generation, the players we grew up with as kids, would have wanted to wear these. When I was playing baseball, when you were playing baseball, we wanted solid colors. We want solid socks. We didn't want anything. We actually didn't want anything loud. We didn't want designs on our socks.
Yeah.
And the shoes, specifically cleats, the white always belonged to the Oakland Athletics.
Yep. That
was their look, and now just about everyone does it. I mean, I think it looks all right in the Dodgers, but I'd prefer it would stay and remain only with the A's.
Yeah.
Yeah, those 3 things really bother me also. And then on the other side, though, Garrett Cole. Oh, he really got it right, Garrett Cole. I mean, maybe the only thing you could look at it and say is, well, he could have a little more blue in his shoes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he looks great out there.
Yeah. And of course, we wish the Yankees still had their road uniforms the same with the white outline on the New York titles and the border piping on the sleeves, but still one of the best World Series uniform matchups we've had in a long time.
You think these teams would be conservative, but you saw a lot of liberties brought into this series on both sides because the game isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
And this is why it's not fun anymore. And your average person looking at this would say, what are you even talking about? What's the problem?
Austin Wells. He came out with this chest protector in the playoffs. I admired him during the regular season for having a solid chest protector. And he came out with this in the playoffs, and it looked like he decided to take white paint and just sprinkle it all over his chest.
Well, I'll tell you what I think it looks like. You're in New York, it looks like pigeon poop.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. Pigeon poop from New York. You put it out all underneath the pigeons, and you let them just have a day.
Terrible.
Would you ever expect that from Jorge Posada or Joe Girardi?
No.
Jim Liritz.
And he looked like them previously in the season, which makes it even worse. But on the biggest stage, this is what comes out.
Right. There's Aaron Boone. And there's a lot of things we could pick at this World Series. We're just doing a quick review. This was Aaron Boone before the game 1. He was actually wearing the uniform. And when we talk about Aaron Boone, we've done this in several episodes, he is almost always wearing a hoodie as the New York Yankees manager. And he actually, at one point, I'm not even sure when this was, it may have been during the player introduction. I remember I didn't even see the player introductions. I was shocked to even see this. Find a picture of him in the uniform. Does it look good?
Very good.
It's so professional, and you'd hope he would continue to wear it. But not so, because this is what we had during the game, him going out to the mound, not wearing the manager's jacket, instead wearing the hoodie. Basically, it just looks like, again, you get up in the morning and you just throw this on.
Yeah.
You're not dressed for work.
Yeah, show me Joe Torre, please. That's the jacket we want to see. A big jacket with the jersey underneath.
And the Yankees went on to lose the series. And Aaron Boone, when it comes to uniforms, is a loser.